to Imaginative Visions Journeys, where creators from the entertainment world discuss their journey to turning their dreams into reality. With your host, Justin D. Williams.
Visions Journeys. This will also always be on thetalkersgeek.com. Justin here. This is episode 19, and today we have writer and actor Rishi Varma, and he's going to be talking about his journey and his new play that is playing right now at the Theater Center in New York City, Sulfur Bottom. And welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So first question, I always like to start off of everybody's creative journey. What led you to the path of acting and writing?
Um, well, I've always kind of been interested in both separately. So doing acting at school and then just seeing them as both functions of storytelling. So whether you're an actor or a writer, the thing I like about writer, especially in the last couple of years with the pandemic and the strikes for both writers and actors and the way that things are as an actor is for an actor, you have to wait for someone else to basically tell you you can act. They have to say, hey, we want you in this role after an audition. But as a writer, you can always be writing no matter what. You can always be at your apartment working on a script. So it always felt like you have a lot of control over that. And that's part of the fun of it for me is it's yours always.
And was there any inspiration or any particular film project or any off-Broadway play, which we're going to get into? How did you get into playwriting? Was there any inspiration to go, you know what? This is the path I want to take?
Um, you know, I went to college and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And so I took a year doing other stuff. And I remember after that year, just feeling like I really wanted to do theater and acting and writing again. And that to me was a confirmation of if you can take a year off and do something else, and yet all you want to do is go back, well, that might be a path versus just doing it because you were always told you could do it. So I had to try. If there's anything else I could possibly do and be happy, I would I would try that first. And I think it just made me want to be an artist even more.
And we interview a lot of writers on here. Some writers say that they were self-taught when it comes to the format of either writing a play or a script. How did you learn the format of the whole structure of playwriting and just script writing in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think the beautiful thing about plays, which is why I like it the best, is that there is no like you can do whatever you want in a play and you can be as crazy as you want with form and structure. So I was writing plays initially, but then I did take classes in college with some really amazing professors at Northwestern who helped me refine that. And the value of those classes for me was just getting feedback in the room, getting to hear your work aloud over and over, and getting to read a bunch of other plays and talk about those plays. So I would definitely say it's been a mix, but the formal training for me was really eye opening and helpful. And I don't think I'd have this play without that.
And let's segue into Sulfur Bottom. What can you, well, first give us a little bit of an overview of what the play's about, and then tell us what inspired this particular project.
Yeah. So the play is it's a surreal, we call it eco gothic because it uses like spirits and gothic ideas and it talks about the environment as well. But it follows one family over three generations who are living in a house. And the house is at the edge of an industrial park, kind of in an area that's highly polluted. And as the decades go by, it's getting worse and worse. And they're really trying to find ways to escape the house if they want to, reclaim the land, connect with each other through these impossible circumstances. The play is surreal, as I mentioned, so it's got um, kind of weird things that happen through the play, and it's not linear. We jump back and forth in time, so that's part of the fun of it. Is it doesn't necessarily give you clear answers or easy answers, but hopefully it makes you think and feel excited in the space. That's our goal, is to communicate this story in a really unique way.
And is there any challenge to writing a play that's not, the typical linear structure, where it's like you have these characters and it's this perspective and it's this perspective and it's jumping around? Is there any what was the conscious decision to approach it that way?
It's definitely a challenge. And I think the decision is, we really wanted to communicate this idea that it's not just the land that's being poisoned, but it's the, the time and the memories that they have with each other and all these things that are being affected by this. It's not just land and body that gets hit with pollution. It's lives and it's generations, and it's this concept of the time you have with everybody and the memories you can share with them, and all this stuff is being affected. So I thought it would be really interesting to play with time in that way, and to see that develop, and the secrets come out through memories and all this kind of stuff. But yes, it was complicated to write, and it's definitely a challenge to also produce, because it's really not everybody's cup of tea, nonlinear structures. And I know we're going to get a lot of opinions when this play we open tonight and everything. I know we're going to get a lot of opinions. You've been like, too much, too complicated. um, but I think we really do have an audience where we're gunning for people who want to appreciate that and sit back and kind of enjoy this ride of a family and memory and time and animals, and just see what they can take from it.
That's the beauty of it, though, because you have, when it comes to that type of story structure, it forces people to kind of get a little bit analytical and get a
Right.
little bit into the point, like, okay, so I'm seeing this particular element, but this person's having this perspective here. So now I have to kind of jump through and see where the whole big shebang comes into play.
Exactly. That's exactly what we're going for. Is it also gives people a lot of different interpretations, which I think for some may be frustrating that it's not a clear answer, but I don't love clear answers. I think we always say in our thing that the situation is absurd. So why shouldn't the play be absurd, right? If this whole idea of living in this place is literally polluting you, in this house, and the whole climate crisis is in a lot of ways absurd in how it's handled and how it's dealt with. The only way we could see this play being done was to respond with absurdity, in kind, and I think that's really what we're going for here.
How long did it take you to write the play?
It's been a process for 3 years with
Oh,
lots
wow.
of changes. Started with an initial draft that looks very different today, but the core characters and the core themes and concept, and the whale concept that's going to be in the play, that has been there since the beginning. It was just a lot of rewrites, a lot of development, a lot of back and forth, a lot of taking random ideas late at night and being like, maybe this will work, and then seeing what happens there. And now finally we're on stage and we can get our first set of eyes on the piece, and see how it people take it in.
And how are you feeling knowing that this is something that you wrote and it's playing off Broadway in New York City? Is it kind of like, oh, wow, the vision is officially alive now?
Yeah, I mean, it's terrifying because you enter the process with just your script and you don't know what. And as I mentioned before, people have a lot of opinions, and they're very comfortable sharing those opinions with you a lot of times in this, especially in this city, which is great. That's why we do this, is to form the community and get people talking about it, whether they love it or hate it, or it's theirs or not theirs. Like, we really appreciate, people coming in, but it's also scary because it is, work I put a lot of time into, and that my collaborators put a lot of time into and put their hearts into. Um, and so I hope that people can take something from this play, at least say, okay, this had value and this affected me. So that's our goal for this one.
And for any aspiring writers out there who want to take the same path of even getting onto the stage or writing something to the stage, what advice can you give them when it comes to, just either just producing, writing a actual play?
Yeah. One is it's never going to be perfect. Don't wait till it's perfect. You can't please everybody. And I find that this was really important to me that we have to know that this play is not going to please everybody, and we don't want it to because that means we're not doing anything interesting. And also the impetus to like get this going quickly. I did a reading in February. It's hard to wait for other people to tell you can do things and say this play is allowed on stage now because there is financial stuff that gatekeep the process. So what I say is however you can do this yourself, whether that's doing a small fundraising with your friends to just get a reading one night, and having pizza in exchange for your friends to be actors in it, whatever you can do to stop waiting for submissions and theaters and all this stuff and just put it on and see how it goes. I think that's what got me here, is to just do it. Mm-hmm.
Because I can't imagine like the process of it, of just trying to get something. It's basically what you're describing is very complex to get people to sign off on it. Finding an actual a location that's going to be willing to host your play,
Right.
and getting days has to be like a little bit of a it's like a little headache. Just like, oh my gosh, there's so much legality that goes into this.
Yeah, it's a whole process. I feel like I learned just having to do it, learned a crazy amount of what goes on behind the scenes of Off-Broadway and the ways we can do it. And we were lucky to be able to find a theater at the theater center who does periodic performances. So we do two shows a week instead of the usual eight. And that's been really great because the financial investment for a two-show week is a lot smaller than an eight-show week. And we have more time to find our audience, to find our footing, to get people to the theater and to figure out who's resonating with this play. So I'd recommend before going into like a full, we've got 3 weeks, eight shows a week. It's got to, all the pressures there is we've been lucky to rotate with some pretty different shows than ours. I think we rotate with The Office parody musical and Friends parody musical and Seinfeld parody musical in the same space. Um, but that's allowed us to really get some time to develop this play and make it work.
I have two more questions. One is going to be, it's always this one's always a hard one for writers because it's like literally picking a child. But out of all the characters in Sulfur Bottom right now, which one would you say resonates with you more? Is a little bit more from your personal branch, and or do you have a favorite? That you just
Mm.
like, I really like this one. I was like, yeah.
It is hard because it's like picking your favorite. I think the character of Maeve, she's the youngest of the family. She comes in at the end at 16, and she represents kind of the potential future of this world and family. I think that, as someone who's trying to figure out the world and where we're already kind of very much in the climate crisis right now, and so we're coming in at this point and being like, where do we go from here? I do think probably Melissa, which you'll see in the play, was my favorite to write because she's just so unfiltered and
Hmm.
she says what she thinks, and that's a very fun character to write because you can just say the things that you want to say, and she has a lot of humor too, so that was fun. So I would say that, but I really do love all these characters and how they play off each other and what they represent. I feel like there's a little bit in each one that comes from my own perspective.
And final question is, it is a two-parter. What do you hope for the audience to take from the play once they finish watching it? And how can people follow you? And how can they keep up to date with your projects and the play as well?
Yeah. I mean, when I was writing this play, I really wanted to make sure that the core of this play was about the family. So I can tell you, you're not going to get a lecture on pollution or, a sermon on environmental justice. There are many other places where that is more applicable and people will do it better than I will. What we're trying to do here is show a real family how they live with this, that you can feel it on a personal level on what's happening on the ground. And I hope as well that you don't come out of this feeling hopeless and like nothing is possible. We tried to add little bits of hope so that when you come out of it, maybe you feel inspired, maybe you feel like you want to take action in some ways. And we have ways you can do that. We partnered with an organization called We Act for Environmental Justice, which is a Harlem-based organization that fights for equitable, healthy communities on the ground. And so we have opportunities for you to donate to that and learn more about the organization and help. And so I hope people come out feeling like, wow, this is things I didn't know about, but I feel like I can still be of help on this one. And to follow the play, at Sulfur Bottom Play is our Instagram, sulfurbottom.com is our website. My personal at Sir Rishi, SIRRISHI is my Instagram. You can follow along there for any future projects as well. But yeah, just be a part of the community. Come chat with us about what you take from the show. And we hope you have fun when you see it.
Thank you.
Us for Imaginative Visions Journeys. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from Imaginative Visions, you can visit imaginativevisions.com.